We've just been having a good time already. I can already tell it's going to be a banger. Is that good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool.
It's good. Like bangers and mash.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
It's gonna be a sausage.
Welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups who are very thirsty. Physically, not like, you know, not like the other way. I'm Hannah.
What's the other way?
Like sexually.
Oh, sexually thirsty. I have a question now. Oh, sorry, continue.
Well, I'm Hannah and you're Erin.
I'm Erin. And I have a question for Ben,
Mm-hmm.
our other co-host. Do you guys ever feel thirsty for things other than water or drinks? Like, when it's a hot day and I see, like, a lake or an ocean, I, like, feel thirsty to, like, go into it. Do you guys ever feel that way?
No.
Okay. I think I'm the only one so far.
Do you guys ever feel... How many people have you asked?
Like 5. My method of asking is not very efficient, just one by one. I've been asking one by one.
Do you ever feel, does eating something really sweet ever make you thirsty?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Everything makes me, like, the regular kind of
chocolate
thirsty.
Especially makes me thirsty.
Oh, yeah. I drink, like, so much water when I'm eating. I have a friend who I
Me too.
Frequently share meals with, as you do with friends, and she'll, like, never drink she, like, won't even order a drink when she's eating, and I cannot fathom this. I get, like, 15 refills, like, just for one meal.
Yeah.
I get, like, 10 cups of water.
Yeah.
Is she from a different culture?
She's from Delaware.
Whole different country up there.
Yeah, so I guess maybe.
Well, because, like, sometimes... Because, like, I think there are cultures where it's, like, not normal to get a drink with your food. Like, our brother Lucas, his girlfriend Federica is Italian, and her parents were just recently visiting, and they were, like, really confused by how often people here drink beverages with ice in them. Like, that's not, like, a thing in Europe.
What?
But then how do you have ice water? Like, like, what's the recipe then for that over there?
I think they would just say, like, cold, still water.
But
do they use ice for other things?
Like, iced water?
Do they have
put in their ice boxes? Snow cones?
I don't get that. I don't understand that.
Gelato?
I'll tell you what. There's, like, nothing like some fucking ice water. Like,
I love ice water.
I like... At my new office, we have, like, an ice machine in the refrigerator.
No
I've never
way.
seen this before. And I just drink ice water all day long, like, tons of it. And it's just amazing.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Wow. Good. We have such a nice, good podcast. This is such a great...
I want to segue. This is a perfect segue into what are we drinking.
Yes.
However, I do also want to say, I've been, like, ignoring ice because... I don't know. I just am, like, not in an ice phase right now.
Legit.
Okay.
I've been ignoring it.
You're going Italian style?
Like, specifically, like, in my coffee. Like, I used to have ice in my coffee every morning.
Oh, okay.
Not the hot coffee. Like, I'm an iced coffee person, right? I've just been drinking cold coffee from the fridge.
Oh,
with,
weird.
Like cold brew coffee with milk in it and, like, no ice.
So wait, your fridge has a coffee dispenser? That is new for me.
And we don't have so anyway, the other day at some point in the morning I switched my coffee I had made at home that didn't have ice in it ever into a cup that had ice in it. And it, like, immediately was transformed into a much better coffee beverage. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, there's something special about this. Like, it's not just the coldness, it's the ice specifically. So, I gotta figure out a better ice situation. Because we don't have an ice maker at my house. That's the thing. So if I'm using ice, it's like...
labor.
You gotta remember to refill the things. Yeah, it's labor.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a trial.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you drinking, Erin?
I'm drinking a big ol' frickin' thing of ice water.
Is that it?
I also have a makeshift spindrift. Makeshift spindrift. A make spindrift. Let's work on that. Okay, let's work on that later.
In a really cool glass.
Yeah, I put it in a fancy fucking glass. Because you know what? Treat myself. It is a silly Wednesday, but it's also like a Friday because tomorrow we all have a holiday, I guess. Is that right? Do you have a holiday, Ben?
Yeah.
So it feels like a Friday, but it's a Wednesday. So that's why I have this glass.
Cool.
Yeah. What about Ben? What's Ben drinking? No, Hannah. What's Hannah drinking?
Hannah, I have my SodaStream, which I just recently opened before we started recording, so it's going to be like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so sad.
Cool. It was like was that even air in there?
Yeah, right? It's delicious, though.
You should try it over ice.
Yeah. No kidding, huh? And then, curveball, I have a V8, low sodium.
Oh, look
What?
at that.
Gross.
That is a curveball. You should put that over ice, though. I don't know. I kind of like it room temp. Or
It was in the fridge, so it's cold.
I think you're good.
This is a cold bibby.
I like a V8.
Yep.
I do.
Ben, you don't?
It's just tomato juice, right?
No, it's vegetable juice.
No.
You frick.
What is it?
You frick?
What's in
It's
it?
vegetable juice.
What vegetables?
Has a full serving of 2 vegetables. Tomatoes,
Which
carrots,
ones?
celery, beets. Hold on. Tomatoes, carrots, celery, beets, parsley, lettuce, watercress, spinach. And then it's got some added vitamins and beta carotene and citric acid.
I just don't want to drink my vegetables.
It is made by Campbell's Soup Company, which is a little bit like, oh, you're just giving me a can of soup.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right? Doesn't
I
it just
love it,
taste
though.
like cold tomato soup?
Yeah, but it's yummy, and it's
good.
in a can.
It's so good.
Or does it matter that it's in a can?
I do like it. I do like it, the regular sodium, but I'll drink a low sodium, you know? Throw it at me.
I
Why
can't
not?
tell the difference, honestly. TBH, TBQH. I can't tell the difference.
That's good then. I think if you can't tell the difference, go low, you know what I mean? When I go high, you go low, you know what I mean?
Right.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
I got iced water,
Good.
It's important to
I got-
hydrate.
a Spindrift flavor I'd never had. Well, I've had it all week, but I hadn't had it before this week. It's orange mango.
How you like?
It's pretty good. It's grown on me a lot over the past couple of days since I ran out of lemon.
Oh, it's hard to get over lemon.
Yeah, but it's like
It's first love.
I didn't love it at first
Love.
because it kind of has that similar thing with strawberries where it sort of tastes like overripe fruit.
You
know what
just
I
said
mean?
with strawberries.
Yeah, with strawberry Spindrift.
You said strawberries.
Whatever, with strawberry Spindrift.
Okay, thank you.
Where it tastes like overripe fruit.
Yeah. Okay.
Strawberries.
Strawberry Spindrift. It's like Attorneys General.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's grown on me a lot. It's quite good.
Great.
It's
I'm
good.
glad that we caught you, after you had some time with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
to
need a couple
acclimate.
days.
To acclimate.
You need to spend some time in Spindrift Corner before you can be sure how you feel about any particular flavor.
Mm-hmm. That's indeed true.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my god, I have a fucking upfront thing I can't believe I haven't already mentioned.
What is it?
The other night, so Molly's been out of town for like ever. And the other night, I'm home alone. I'm sitting there. I get thirsty. And I'm like, oh, so we have all of our like seltzers in our garage fridge, as you two know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm gonna go get myself a seltzer. It's late at night. So I saunter to the garage, open the door, turn the light on, and start walking into the garage. And there's a copperhead snake on the ground, looking right at me, like right in front of my path, like looking at me. And copperheads, for those who don't know, who are not look at this area, there are a venomous snake who live in our area. And it was like maybe a teenager, I would say. And yeah, and so it had me answer a riddle before it let me pass to get a seltzer. But anyway, I freaked out and like FaceTimed Molly, and I was like, I didn't freak out. So I used to be an animal keeper, but I don't like surprise snakes. I was like more full of like adrenaline.
Yeah.
Because I almost walked right through it. Like I would have walked through it in my bare fucking feet.
Oh God.
Nobody likes surprise snakes.
That's true.
You don't have to explain that.
I feel seen. Thank you. Or if it had been like around the corner, like in front of the fridge, there's just so many scenarios where I would have like absolutely stepped on it. So I like freaked out and FaceTimed Molly. I was like, "There's a snake in the garage!" Like I was just like going crazy. Oh, oops. Oh no, my watch is making a FaceTime call to Molly. That's hilarious. Anyway, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, do we know an animal keeper we can call? You're an animal keeper." And so, long story short, I answered its riddle. I got my seltzer. The next day, my friend who lives down the street, we were animal keepers together back in the day, and she came over and she has some snake hooks, and we got in our full snake gear and moved it. I watched it slither under the chest freezer after I learned my quest, and we moved the chest freezer and it wasn't there. So I don't know if that's better or worse. I like to think that it left my garage entirely, but who knows? So
wow, so you might still have a snake in your garage.
I might have a lot, but I feel like we live in the woods. We are living around these copperhead snakes all the time. We just don't know it. This was just like a happenstance that I happened to almost stance on it. So
they're just your venomous neighbors.
That's all.
Wait, so did you have enough of a path to actually get seltzer, or did you just like go right back in?
I immediately like closed the door and turned the light off and like kind of ran around a little bit to myself. And then once I FaceTimed Molly, I was like, "Let me show you." And I opened the garage door again, and I like watched it slither under the chest freezer, which is right next to the fridge. And then I kind of, with a wide berth, I did go get my seltzer.
Good.
But I also keep remembering about the snake as I like kind of carefreely like saunter out of it, like into my garage, and then I'm like, look, like watch for snakes.
Yeah.
It's like your venomous neighbor became your venomous garage squatter.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I don't like to get to know my neighbors.
They're all venomous snakes.
And copperheads will only bite you if you, like, step directly on them if they feel threatened. They're not aggressive, but, I mean, I would have stepped directly on them had I not been paying. No. So, the thing with younger snakes, the younger snakes, if they're babies, and if they're babies, they have a little green tip on its tail, and I think this was slightly older, they don't know how to control their venom. So, when they bite you, they give you all of their venom, and that can be really dangerous. Okay. I don't think a copperhead snake bite would, it wouldn't be life-threatening to me. It might be to Henry, but I would have to seek medical attention.
No fun.
Yeah, that's not what you want. And like, what, alone. Like, yeah, what why do these things happen when your, like, spouse is out of town?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
there's always, like, a crisis.
So, actually, maybe Molly planted the snake. Now that I'm really thinking about it. That's why she was like, I don't know, deal with it yourself.
Do you remember the first year we went to Savannah and I left Ian at home, and then while we were gone, some youths, I assume, like, rang the doorbell and then threw a bag of like undefined poop at our door?
What? That actually happens?
That all happened while I was away.
Yeah. Wow.
Undefined poop.
I didn't know people actually did
it
that.
on his own.
I did plan that, so Molly probably did the snake.
Amazing.
It's just to make sure that they miss you enough.
Yeah,
you know?
well, and she probably wanted me to have a fun story for my podcast, so
yeah.
Thank you,
wow,
Molly.
So thoughtful.
Yeah, that's really thoughtful.
Okay, I have an upfront thing, which is as we're recording this, it's July 3rd. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, America's Independence Day. It's also, and most importantly, Uncle Brown's birthday.
Happy birthday to Uncle
My
Brown.
father. And Ben's father. So it will have already happened by the time this comes out, but I did want to wish him a happy birthday. Oh my God, I can't stop burping.
Wow, this is a really heartfelt happy birthday message that he can play for all of his coworkers and friends. He can be like, listen to how my daughter honored me on my birthday.
Just pretend the burping is tearing up.
Happy birthday, Dad.
My emotions, they're bubbling up.
Anyway, we know you listen, and we appreciate you, and we love you, and it's your birthday, so happy birthday.
Party like it's your birthday.
Happy freaking birthday. You know what? When you said that date, I just suddenly remembered. Today, July 3rd, is my 8-year date anniversary with Molly.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Molly plants a snake in the garage while she's out of town brown.
Wow, how the times have changed her.
No, she did the same exact thing on her first date.
Oh, it's actually so romantic then.
Yeah, it's pretty romantic. You know, some people are like, I was totally smitten. I was like, I was totally bitten.
Well, happy first date anniversary to you and Molly.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to Dad.
Happy birthday to Uncle Brown.
Well, then why don't we pop in then?
Why don't we
Pop,
poop
you don't
in?
have anything? Wow, undefined.
Wow.
Hannah, do you have any upfronts?
No.
Wow, that was a creepy face you made.
No!
No, I'm great.
Great. Well, yeah, because upfronts are only for when you're bad.
Only when you have a snake in your garage.
There's a snake in my garage.
Oh, that's so weird. I was just saying that earlier today.
Exactly that.
You don't have a garage.
That's true. No, but the boot, in my boot.
You don't have a boot.
I do have boots.
No, you do.
But there's no snakes in them, as far as I know.
That's good. I wonder if don't do that.
Oh.
I wonder if people in Britain interpreted that as like a snake in my trunk. Wonder if they changed it in Britain. Like, is there another word for boot?
Shoe.
There's a snake in my
shoe
clog.
My wellies.
My wellies. Oh man. British release. Everything's the same except there's a snake in my wellies. Because the test audience in Britain were like, what are they talking in his trunk? Where's his car?
What does that have to do with cowboys?
Yeah, it was like they had to pause the movie and figure it out. Okay.
Okay. Well, Erin, you're up first.
Speaking of Britain, my obsession is the United States women's national team, who have just beaten England and are advancing to the Women's World Cup final on Sunday.
Woo!
Soccer. U.S. Women's National what?
Team.
It's not like soccer team?
No, because everyone knows because they're the fucking best.
They're literally the bomb. They're not. I'm sorry. They're figuratively the bomb. They are amazing. Okay, so I'm obsessed with the team itself. They're amazing. They're some of the finest athletes in this here world. They're the number one team. They're absolutely crushing. So here's my history. I have basically never watched a soccer game before like last week. And all of a sudden I'm like, want to know everything there is to know about soccer, specifically women's soccer, specifically like this team and this tournament. It's so interesting to me. These players are like really cool.
This is like exactly what I did with basketball and the Clippers a couple months ago.
So good. And there's something about that I find really powerful about like the women's team specifically. It's just like they, especially because they like really outperform the men's team, I just find that to be really inspiring and powerful because it's like, I don't know, it's just power, you know what I mean? It's just like, they're just like dominating. Mm-hmm. They're just like out there just killing it. And, another really cool thing is that the team filed, I don't know the specifics too well, but they basically like, filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer League. I don't know what the terminology is, but basically because the men's team is paid so much more than they are, they're basically like, they're like suing them, I guess, to get equal pay.
They're like in the process of suing them, right? While like during the World Cup, yeah. Yeah,
they just like dropped this lawsuit and then we're like, okay, now we're gonna go like play in the World Cup and like in the final.
And we're gonna fucking kill it. Like
I know, we're gonna like totally kill it. So anyway, they're awesome. Yeah, I've just been watching like a ton of YouTube videos to like get to know all the players, like their histories. A lot of them played around my area. 4 of the women in the U.S. national team play for the club in Cary. So I could go, and I probably definitely will now, and watch games and like see these players playing locally. So that's fucking dope.
Wow. They still do?
Yeah.
So how does it work? Like, if you're on the women's national team, it's not the only
because the World Cup's only every
like
4
only
years.
part of the year?
Yeah, the World Cup's only every 4. So I guess, I don't know too much about it, but I guess like the NC Courage is still playing games right now, but they're not doing so hot because they're missing their best 4 players because they're best 4 players on the best team in the world. Yeah. So anyway, I've just been watching, like, there's so much content out there to, like, get to know all the players. Like, I guess U.S. Soccer League has an official, YouTube channel and, posts a lot of videos, like, you know, kind of the backstory or the journey of the players. And there's, like, a really interesting mix of, like, players who've been on the team for a really long time and players who are kind of newer. And it's just really enriched my, like, I've only really watched, like, 2 games now, but it's really, like, I watched the one against France, which was last week, and I watched the one, I guess it was yesterday, against England, and in between those 2, I had, like, learned a ton about the players, and just found that experience to be so much more enriching. And today I watched a game that wasn't the US team, but it was like the final, it was like the semifinal, and whoever won that game would go on. And so that was really cool. And I've been learning a lot more about like soccer terms, cause it's like, I watched baseball growing up with my dad. I watched football, even though I don't like it that much. I know a lot about those sport rules just because those were like in my environment, in my atmosphere. And I don't know anything about soccer, not anything. And so,
it fucking blew my mind. Because I watched a bit of last year's Men's World Cup, and I hadn't watched soccer in ever before, and I was like, why does the fucking timer count up? And that still bothers me. And then like when I found out that the way it works is that like it counts up to like it's like 90 minutes, right? And then the refs, and it like the timer's like always going. It like never stops, and then at the end the refs like kind of arbitrarily decide based on how much the game had stopped, how much extra time to add. It's like, what the fuck is that system? It seems so dumb to me.
It's awesome. You suck. But it's really cool because 2 of my friends who are also my coworkers are like super duper soccer fans and are like really, I don't know if they're excited that I'm getting into soccer, but they're very like excited, or they're very patient, and they seem excited about all of my soccer questions. Cause all of a sudden I've just like 1 million soccer questions for them. But I've been like learning about the rules and asking them a lot of questions like, why this, why that? And they've been like breaking down things for me, or like, oh, you noticed this? It's because of this. And so that's really cool. And so I'm just excited to be a new, women's soccer fan. And, I'm excited for the World Cup on Sunday at 11. And I'm just like, go USA, and those ladies rock it, and I want to get some jerseys, and they're so awesome. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I am thinking about waking up early to watch the final on Sunday.
You fucking should.
I just sent you 2 videos on Slack that I think you should watch.
Okay. Amazing.
They're related to the U.S. Women's National Team, and they're also. I think I've talked about this YouTube series before. It's called Rewinder. It's basically like they take like iconic sports moments and talk about like everything, like all the storylines and everything that led up to like why they're so iconic and emotional.
Amazing.
Yeah, and they're like really well done.
I will watch these. I've literally been staying up way too late past my bedtime watching fucking videos about soccer. Like, who am I?
This is like, I think you did. I don't remember what the sport was that we were talking about, but
baseball.
I think
probably baseball.
That we
Ben talked about baseball like 100 times.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, but I think the Rewinder video specifically was like, because it's like, it doesn't just tell you what happened, it tells you why it was so big, right? Because that's the thing, like, if you try to jump in the middle of a season, everybody's really excited about shit, and you're just like, this seems good, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, oh my gosh, I have a few other things, I'm so sorry. It is my obsession time, I guess this is the whole point. I was watching one YouTube video about, like, why are U.S. women so good at soccer? Because if we win tomorrow, on Sunday, we won't win tomorrow because we're not playing, but if we win on Sunday, which I really think we will, it'll be like our 4th World Cup win?
That's a lot.
Out of like 8? Out of 8 that we've had, like the women have had, which is incredible. And basically, so I was watching like, why are we U.S. women so good at soccer? And it basically comes down to Title IX about like not being able to discriminate based on sex. And so all of a sudden, like, schools couldn't just have, like, sports programs for boys. They had to have sports programs for girls. And soccer was a really great sport to have because it could, like, you could have a lot of girls in it. So it was, like, you know, kind of, it was convenient in that way. And so, basically, like, we've had sports for girls a lot longer than a lot of these other countries. And so...
Oh, interesting.
And so basically, like, they're catching up now, and they're putting a lot of, you know, some of the other countries are putting more funding into it, but basically we've got this, like, incredible head start because of that.
That's like with Japan and women's baseball.
Oh yeah?
Japan, like, dominates the women's baseball, I think it's called the World Cup. I forget what it's called. It's like every couple of years also.
The World, Pint?
Yeah, the World Pint.
World Butt, right?
But Japan, like, dominates just because they've, like, had more infrastructure for allowing women to play baseball for a lot longer. And, like, whereas in the U.S., women were banned from playing in Major League Baseball from, like, the 40s until the mid-90s.
I was like, not still?
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, they're not technically. It's just, like, after like, 70 years of it never happening, it's just, like, it's hard to get that in place.
Yeah, because it's not only just, like, having it long enough for a girl to play and then get really good and then be a professional. It's, like, coaches and, like, mentors. And it's, like, all of that.
And girls are constantly funneled into softball, which is, like, nothing against softball, but, like, you shouldn't... If you, like, are a girl who wants to play baseball and you, like, go to sign up at your local rec department, they're going to be like, oh, do you mean softball? Like, we'll just put you in softball. Like, that's just, like, how it happens. And it's, like... People, they're different sports, and some people want to play baseball and some people want to play softball, and they should be allowed to play baseball and softball.
Yep.
Yeah, the Justine Siegel, who Rhea Butcher has had on Three Swings, runs Baseball for All, which is like a charity that supports letting girls and women play baseball around the country. So she's really cool and does a lot of cool stuff. She was like the first, she's the first woman to throw batting practice for a major league team. She was like an assistant coach for the Athletics for part of a season. She's just cool.
Wow.
Everyone should follow Baseball for All. They do cool stuff.
Baseball for all. Football for all, but like the soccer version. One more thing. Well, two more things I wanted to mention about this. Oh, one was a great article that Ben shared with us that maybe WayTooBroad can retweet, which is Megan Rapinoe, who is one of like the most awesome players on the team. Her girlfriend wrote, Megan Rapinoe had this clip where where somebody asked her, "Are you excited to go to the White House?" And she was like, "I'm not going to the fucking White House." It was amazing.
It was fantastic.
It It was fantastic. And she's got a lot of heat from that. And the president like tweeted at her because he's a fucking moron.
And he was like, "You haven't even won yet. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
just
like
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. This is like this is like we're representing
This is
America,
the best
man.
international team we have.
This is America, okay?
Yeah.
Literally this, okay? So anyway, her girlfriend wrote an article that's amazing in every way called "So the President Fucking Hates My Girlfriend," and it's awesome. And I just really related to something in the article that I didn't realize, but basically, like, Megan Rapinoe credits her sexuality like for. Wait, am I saying that right?
I know.
For scoring those goals. Am I saying that right?
She said like something after that game, like, you gotta have gay people on your team to win the World Cup.
But I just like really resonate with that, not because of like the gayness, but because it's like that being out is power. Like her, I just feel like that whole like I feel like it seems like I don't know too much about her, but it seems like this like kind of coming into her own has been a fairly recent journey for her. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that part of like kind of owning her sexuality and flaunting it is like that is giving her power. And I truly believe that and trust
I don't
that.
think that she came out until like 2012 or something, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems like it was on the later side.
And we should mention, by the way, that Megan Rapinoe's girlfriend is one of the best WNBA players of all time, Sue Bird.
Yeah, it's sick. It's really sick.
They're a power couple.
I was curious who she was. If she was like a sports writer or who. Because I don't know nothing about nothing.
Nah, she's real good at basketball.
She's real good. Can you hear me okay?
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing I'll mention, what kept me up late last night, is there's totally like people on the internet who are convinced that two of the players on the team are like secretly in a relationship. And their evidence is very compelling, and I'm totally here for it. So there's like just like so many joys to be found for me. I'm just really having a good time. So that's all.
That's wonderful. I haven't read that article yet, but I'll have to. It sounds like it's a great read.
It's just so nice.
It's nice.
For those of us who are on Mother Time on the East Coast here, what time is the game at on Sunday?
11 a.m.
Oh, I thought it was an hour earlier than that. That's even more conceivable for me to get up and watch it.
I had a hard time finding the game. At first, I accidentally started watching it in Spanish, and I was like, this isn't right. So anyway.
That's awesome.
That's a true obsession.
Oh, 11 a.m.
Yeah. True.
As you're listening to this, if you listen to it first thing in the morning, you still have time to catch the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, watch it.
It's also 90 minutes plus long, so you probably have time to pick up the end of it.
Is there just one more game left?
Yep.
Well, there's a third place match.
For them to win.
Soon.
Yeah, there's a third place match. That's gotta suck.
Before. Yeah, that must feel so shitty to play in the third place match.
Yeah. There's just so much to talk about. I will stop. I'm gonna cut myself off.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah. So watch that, and I'll probably watch that. Definitely, will read the article. And you want to pop into me now?
Hop in. What you got?
Okay. So, I had a another week that was like largely based on pursuing like continuing obsessions. Like I've almost beaten the entire like campaign mode of Beat Saber on my Oculus Quest, which it has been a very sweaty endeavor for me. Which is good. That was like the whole point of it. Like it does motivate you to keep trying, because you just get so frustrated about losing, and then it amuses Ian because every time that I don't win, I just scream. We've got some other games, and we've been like kind of poking around, and it's been really, really fun. Been still watching Dad and stuff. I actually considered bringing, either both of my cats or specifically Handsome Jack as my obsession because I've just been loving on him so much. I just think he's so great. But today I received a package from an Etsy seller, and it made me realize that I've been, like, at this point, I've been a fan of hers for a long time. I've bought several things from her shop. Definitely the most things I've ever bought from one person on Etsy. And I thought I would do something different and talk about her.
Dope.
Yeah. So this person's shop is called Pieces of Indigo, Peaces of Indigo. Oh. Her name is Dawana Young, and she's based out of the Nashville area, Tennessee. She is the person who made my engagement ring and my wedding band.
Wow.
Yeah, and since then I've bought a couple of other things from her, including a third ring, which came today, which I bought for myself because it's been on her sample sale thing for like months, and I've been just eyeing it and putting it in my cart and taking it out of my cart and just like thinking it over and like trying to figure out if there's like any reason why Ian would buy me another like basically second engagement ring anytime soon. And I just couldn't think of one, and I was just so like worried that it was going to be gone, and I just kept on, I couldn't get it out of my head, so I finally just like bought it. And the only place it'll fit is stacked right on top of the other two rings.
Is that the one that's on top?
Yeah, with the two.
Wow.
So they're all sapphires. So now I have 3 different colors of sapphires on my,
cool.
So pretty.
On my thingy. So, the reason that I found her in the first place, I'm pretty sure, when Ian and I when we were thinking about getting engaged, or when I was thinking about us getting engaged, I was like, I don't want to say I was like a pushy girlfriend about it, because I really wasn't, but it was like so clear to both of us that was what we wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I just like, was kind of just trying to like give him some hints in the right direction, you know? So I did start looking up rings on Etsy just to show him the sorts of things that I would like. And when I found this shop, I really liked it for, another thing was I was really, interested in like sort of sidestepping the whole like diamond industry altogether. Mm-hmm. And so the thing that like first caught my eye besides the designs, and this Etsy was that, she has a passion for, eco-friendly, like recycled silver and gold and ethical gemstones are like her thing. So her little blurb says, sourcing ethical materials is an obsession for me and is the heart and soul of my business. Recycled silver and gold is used in all of my designs. Finding excellent quality fair trade gemstone suppliers has taken years. I know that you'll be thrilled with the beautiful stones that I offer, which they are very beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I follow her on like Instagram, and she's always posting like when she buys another like bunch of gemstones of various types. Sometimes she does have diamonds, but they're like ethically sourced diamonds. Mm-hmm. Like she knows the origins of everything that she makes into jewelry, which I think is really wonderful. And her prices are very reasonable, because, you know, everything besides the fair trade gemstones is like recycled in one way or another. So like she doesn't like jack up the prices just because she like has all these things that do like sort of add value for the right type of customer, like me, you know? And I've like messaged with her before because when Ian showed me the ring that he ended up buying me for my engagement ring, but he didn't tell me that he was buying it. So I didn't talk to her about that purchase. But then when it came time for us to buy wedding bands, I got this idea in my head that I wanted to get my wedding band from her also. And I started looking at her like wedding bands, and the thing that I found that I liked was like a twig. It was like an actual twig that she had cast into a band, but I didn't see any that were just only the twig. Like she only had engagement rings, which had the twig as the band. So I messaged her and like basically commissioned just like a simple like twig wedding band. And she was like really wonderful about it. She was, again, just like very reasonable on the price because it's not something that takes a lot of material. And got it turned around really quickly. And like, I've been very, very happy with just everything that I've gotten from her.
Love.
And this ring, I'm so happy to have. And it just looks really, really nice with my I have a picture of it too that I'll post with the episode.
I see that you reviewed it on the site. And
I did. That's awesome. The picture. Yeah. I'll put it up on the Slack too for Ben. But yeah, she's so just, pretty. Yeah, her stuff is very, how would you describe it? I like rustic makes it sound like rustic can be like a veil, I feel like, for like a lack of skill.
Yeah.
But she's like rustic in the truest sense of like, she has a lot of, she really likes to play, I think, with texture and with like different types of settings. Like I also I really like the way that she set all three of these stones. And it's something that she does fairly often where she sort of builds up the metal sort of around that. I don't know what any of these things are called, but I just think it looks really nice. It's almost like, if you've ever, what it makes me think about, which I don't know if this is like a visual most people have in their heads, but like if you ever have seen like a burl in a tree, like a little hole in a tree.
Yeah.
It's like you took that and put a beautiful sparkly stone into it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, they're just really, she's just really seems like a nice person. I think she has a couple of pets that she also shows on her Instagram. Which we know is my kryptonite.
And she's gotcha. You never stood a chance.
So yeah, if you're in the market for that sort of thing, or, she also does, I haven't bought any of her, earrings or necklaces, but she does a lot of stamped, metal, necklaces and earrings. So check her out. She's great.
Yeah, I'm looking at all of her stuff. I like it. All of her stuff.
All of her stuff. All of her stuff.
All of her stuff.
Yeah, and she does do a lot of custom stuff too. So, she has listings that are like ready to buy, and then she has listings for like types of rings that she can do, that you can commission the size, or you can commission like the engraving and stuff. Like, she's very profesh. She's a good seller, and I just really like her stuff.
Cool.
Dope. Dope.
I'll post a picture of my rings, and I'll post a link to her Etsy store with the episode description.
Cool.
Cool, nice sesh.
Thanks. Cool. Ben, what's your obsession?
He has the same one.
What's your sesh?
Yeah, it's the exact same as Hannah's. I don't know how this happened.
Same one.
Damn it. No, it's.
Do you have a backup?
Yeah, obsession? I got something else. I guess. It's a show on Netflix that came out a few months ago. I'm a little behind on it.
You're a little behind.
In terms of when everyone else got really excited about it on my Twitter feed.
You've got a little behind.
It's called When They See Us. Have you guys watched it?
No.
When They See Us.
Have you heard of it?
I have heard that it is.
Oh, I've seen it on there.
It's very good. It's about the Central Park 5.
Oh.
It's not like a documentary. It's a drama.
Is it a series? I thought it was a movie.
It's a 4-part series.
Wow.
They're each like a little over an hour. And it was written and directed by Ava DuVernay, who I don't really know what else she's done. She did A Wrinkle in Time. I think she's done other stuff.
She's an actress, right?
I think she's mainly a director.
She's a director, but she DuVernay also.
She won a Golden Globe for Best Director for Selma, which I haven't seen. But anyway, I was wondering how much you guys know about Central Park 5 and that whole case.
Not anything.
Nothing at all?
I know.
Nothing at all.
I know a little bit.
So here's basically what happened.
Hello, listeners. This is Editor Hannah. Just dropping in a little content warning here. If you're familiar with this case, you already know this, but the Central Park 5 case is pretty heavy stuff. very thematically and tone-wise different from the rest of the episode. So if you're not interested in hearing us talk seriously about rape and assault, false accusation, false convictions, prison, or even just spoilers for when they see us. I don't know how much historical events are considered spoilers typically. It's kind of a blurry line, but we do talk about all of the events surrounding the Central Park 5 case, which can be a little bit brutal. So that's just a little heads up. If you look in the description of the episode, I will put in time codes for when you can come back in if that doesn't sound like a fun listen for you. So thanks, and talk to you later.
On April 19th, 1989, this investment banker named Trisha Miley was brutally raped and assaulted. And we should probably give a trigger or content warning before this this section. But she was very brutally attacked. She had brain damage afterwards, lost her sense of smell from it. It was really, really brutal. And was left in the woods of Central Park naked and basically left to die. And at the same time that was happening, it was between 9 and 10 p.m. on that night. There were about 30 or so kids from Harlem, mostly Black and Hispanic kids, who were running around Central Park. They call it Wild and Out, which basically means different things to different people. For some people, it means going in and finding people to beat up. For some people, it just means running around. For some people, they didn't even know what anyone was doing. They just saw a group and kind of followed. In fact, the beginning of When They See Us in the first episode does a really good job of showing how quickly you can just kind of get caught up in something like that without really realizing anything about what you're getting caught up in, and there not being really any structure to it. So this attack happens, and the police had had arrested a bunch of these kids who were running around Central Park because they had gotten reports of one guy got mugged, and there were bikers who were getting yelled at or something. And so they arrested a bunch of these kids, and then basically decided that because this rape happened around the same time, that these kids must have been involved somehow. That was kind of decided a priori without really knowing any of the evidence beforehand. That was the only thing they had is they were in the park at the same time.
Central Park, which is famously small.
Huge. Yeah.
No, they were in the same area. Yeah. It wasn't on the opposite end of Central Park. It was near Harlem. But so these 5 kids in particular, who don't really know each other before this. 2 of them do. Their names are Yusuf Salam, Corey Wise, Kevin Richardson, Antron McCrae, and Raymond Santana. And Yusuf Salam and Corey Wise are friends. They know each other pretty well. But the other boys don't really know each. There are a lot of fucking people that live in New York City and a lot of people that live in Harlem, and they don't all know each other. Something I didn't realize about this case is that how young they were. 2 of them, Kevin Richardson and Antron McCrae, were 14 years old.
Jesus.
Yusuf Salam was 15. Raymond Santana was 15, and Corey Wise was 16. Which crucially means that at this time he was not a minor in 1989. So he was tried as an adult.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And they get arrested along with a bunch of other kids. I'm not sure how exactly it ended up getting whittled down to these 5 in particular. But they basically all get coerced into making false confessions about committing this rape it's portrayed. I don't know how exactly that coercion happened in real life, but in the show it's portrayed as they tell the kids that all the other kids are saying that you raped her, so we know you were involved, but if you didn't actually rape her, you need to tell us what actually happened, that kind of thing. And saying things as you just need to cooperate with us and then we can go home. Keeping them there until they give them what they want, basically. And they are tried and convicted.
Jesus.
And go to jail. The younger 4 go to jail for about 6 years. and they're in juvenile detention, and they go. So they like get their GEDs, and some of them even get their associates while they're in prison. Because, like, by the way, they were like all pretty good kids before this. Like, none of them had like a record. They were all like, they were just like kids. They were just fucking little. They were just fucking boys. Corey Wise, because he was 16, goes straight into adult prison from when he's 16. Experiences incredible violence and assault throughout the nearly 12 years he was in prison.
Jesus. From
the age of 16. And by the way, during the whole trial, which was like one of the most televised and crazy media events like ever at the time, and kind of still ever, Donald Trump takes out a full-page ad in 4 New York newspapers for like $85,000 that says to bring back the death penalty for these five young black and Hispanic boys.
Oh my god.
He's been like this for a while. Like that was 30 fucking years ago. He's been on this racist bullshit for a long, long time. And of course, like everyone like in Harlem who even knew these kids or like knows kids like these kids knows that like the police want the black people to be guilty. Like that's just how they're like these kids were doomed from the moment they were born black in Harlem to be guilty of something. And that's just like how it is for them. And it just fucking sucks. And then in 2002, there's this guy, I forget his name. I think it's something Reyes. Well, let me find it. Matias Reyes, who is it was in 2001, sorry. He's a convicted murderer and serial rapist who was serving life in prison at the time in 2001. He confessed to officials that he had raped the female jogger that night, and he told them that he worked alone. And by the way, during the time of the trial, there was a sock found on the seam that was filled with semen. None of the semen matched any of the boys involved.
So they had that DNA evidence.
They had DNA evidence that, well, okay, so there was semen they got a semen sample from the woman as well, but it wasn't enough to get like a conclusive amount of evidence. But then they found that sock nearby, which, it doesn't rule out necessarily that they weren't involved, but it like does tell you that there was someone else involved.
Yeah.
And also, like, what are the fucking chances that these 5 boys raped this woman and none of their semen? There was no other physical evidence that they were there. Like, there was no blood. Like, fucking Kevin Richardson on the night that it happened, he was one of the kids arrested in Central Park and got hit in the head with a police helmet in the middle of being arrested. And so they tried to like construe that as it was an injury that came from holding her down and she like scratched him, but his blood wasn't found on her anywhere. Like, it just like there are so many holes, and because these are coerced confessions, there are so many like inconsistencies between all of them, and in some cases things that are just like not correct about the case at all. Like even like the location of where it happened, they said it happened like half a mile away from where it did. So they would have had to drag her like half a mile around a reservoir. Jeez. Like just not like just the details of it don't make sense. And I don't know. And like obviously this is all a dramatic portrayal after knowing that they're innocent this whole time. And like that now that we know that. So like I don't know. I don't know how much of the details we know like about how, because one person in particular, the Linda Fairstein, comes off really, really bad in the show as like kind of the person who's like, well, if their stories match, it means they don't match, it means they're lying, or like, well, we have to figure out what does put them there if we don't have any evidence, like that, kind of like just trying to push it to be like these kids are definitely guilty. And I don't know how much of that is like actually accurate to how she was running it at the time, but like it seems like to push the trial, to go to trial with this, you like have to think like that. You know what I mean? Just because there was like so little physical evidence at all that any of them were involved. Like the only evidence is that they happen to be in the park at the same time. That's like basically it. And these coerced confessions.
Jesus.
That's the thing about coerced confessions, though. Because, like, I don't know if you ever have watched, like, the confession tapes or anything like that on Netflix, but, like, there are, like, two options. If you are in a situation as a interrogator where you've just caused someone to falsely confess to something, it's either that you have, like, actively malicious intent towards them and are trying to like full on trick them, like knowing that you're wrong. You just like want to get it over with. And that happens. But then there's also like, you've already convinced yourself of what the answer is.
Yeah.
And like just that fact of manipulating yourself into thinking that is causing you to behave like so differently and so much differently than you would if you had like, if you were doing your job right.
Well, and I
basically.
think that there is another element to it, that like, like, the actual attack was like so horrific that like I do understand, at least from like not like the methods that they use in interrogation, but like to some degree I understand like from the detective's perspective, like we really need to make sure, like we need to get justice for her, and that's like the one thing they have in mind. And if they like think that this is like, then like you said, like they've already convinced themselves this is true, they're not necessarily trying to coerce a false confession. They're trying to get them to stop lying because they genuinely think they're lying. And they think that because, like, they want to get justice for this woman, which, like, to some extent I get, but, like, you also, you know, to get justice, you need to fucking find the right person. You know, like, that's not justice isn't just putting someone in jail for a crime that you don't know if they committed or not. That's, like, not...
5 people in jail.
5 people in jail, exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, ruining their lives. That's the other thing is this show...
5 children in jail.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The show does a really good job of, like, showing... Because the first 2 parts are, like... The first part is, like, the night of the attack and the arrests and, like, the coerced confessions. The second part is the trials. And then the third part is when they all get out of jail. Or when the 4 younger ones get out of jail, because they get out of the jail at the same time. And how they kind of work on getting back into society. And how fucking difficult it is... once you're a convicted felon and sex offender to integrate back into society.
Oh God.
It's fucking insane. And so in 2001, this other guy confesses, who I believe was like, he was at large at the time of this murder and apparently had like, or not murder, this rape, and apparently had raped another woman in the park like less than a week earlier near the same place. But the police never thought to link those 2 attacks. And his DNA matched the DNA in the sock. Like, that he fucking did it. And all of their convictions got vacated after they were already out of jail. So if it's off, I mean, it's off their record now, I guess, but like, fucking in 2014, Donald Trump said that he still thought they were guilty because they confessed.
Oh
and then in 2016, he said the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, I shit you not.
Oh.
It's, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the literal worst.
Yeah, he's truly, truly the worst. Like, I just hate him so much. I hate him so much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said that there were a lot of people wilding out in the park that night.
Yeah.
Are these just the 5 who happened to be arrested?
No, there were a bunch of them arrested.
So how did they choose these 5?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Eeny fucking meeny miny fucking mo?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Wow.
Let
me find this fucking example. This thing he said. I can't remember. I can't find it. But yeah, he said he fucking thinks they're still guilty, honestly. Because he's a stupid asshole, stupid racist asshole.
Yes, he's racist, he's dumb, he doesn't like or understand nuance, he doesn't read.
Nope.
So.
Nope. So there's like somewhat of a happy ending here where in 2014, this is where it is. In 2014, the city, after 10 years after being sued by them for discrimination and like wrongful conviction and all that shit, finally agrees to settle under Bill de Blasio. They had for 10 years refused to because their lawyers thought they could win in court. And so each of them got Each of the younger 4 boys got $7.1 million from the city, and Corey Wise got $12.2 million. And they're all now advocates for that work. Most of them work with the Innocence Project and for racial and social justice, which is really, really great. Here it fucking is. After that settlement, Donald Trump wrote an op-ed saying that the settlement was a disgrace and thought that they were likely guilty. Settling doesn't mean innocence. Speak to the detective on the case and try listening to the facts. These young men do not exactly have the past of angels. They were children. They were children. Then during the campaign in October of 2016, a month before he was elected to be fucking president of the United States, he said that the Central Park 5 were guilty and the convictions should not have been vacated.
Why is he talking about it at all?
Other critics included U.S. Senator John McCain, who said that Trump's response were outrageous statements about the innocent men in the Central Park 5 case. I forgot John McCain retracted his endorsement of Trump, but that was one of the reasons, was his comments on Central Park 5. Fucking a month before he was elected, the grab him by the pussy tape came out. He was accused of another rape and fucking... Oh, and then, no, not that he was accused. He was accused, but then also said about his accuser, she wouldn't be my first choice, and also said the Central Park 5 were still guilty, and less than a month later, he was elected president. Less than a month after all of those events.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's awful. There's an interesting side note to all of this, which is that after the convictions were vacated and everything, New York City did a thorough investigation on what happened, or the details of the case, and because they couldn't, that's the other thing, they couldn't actually try the guy who did it because the statute of limitations had passed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was already in prison for life for being a serial rapist anyway, but that's just the cherry on top. They also found that they felt that it was likely that he didn't work alone, even though he said he did, based on the evidence of from the actual physical evidence from the crime scene, which is interesting, but again does not implicate the 5 boys at all, because he was an adult at the time, didn't know any of them, in no way implicates the 5 boys at all. It's just an interesting fact that for some reason he said he worked alone, even though the physical evidence might suggest that he didn't. So we might not really know if he ever did, but we certainly know that those boys were innocent and should not have been thrown in jail for that long. And I recommend watching When They See Us to really feel for him even more. It's a great cast too. Really, Michael K. Williams is in it. It's a
depressing show.
Oh, it's a super downer, but also it's one of those things. And Kylie, actually, I'm not watching with Kylie. She didn't want to watch it because it was a downer, and I get it. But it just is one of those things I didn't know a lot about and felt like I should. And dramatizations obviously aren't the best way to learn all of the facts about an event, but it's a good way to learn about the feelings of an event, which I think are just as important sometimes.
Yeah, and it's a good way to spark an interest.
Exactly.
In learning more
I looked
about
up more about it because of watching this. I was like, wow, did this really fucking happen like this? And seems like it did.
Ben, I'm really fucking glad you went last.
Yeah, I really.
Could you imagine if then I had to be soccer?
Yeah, it would be hard to follow.
Yeah, I really brought the tone down for the whole app.
Yeah, I would be you know what? I don't have an obsession. Just my reflection this week.
But hey, man, you get obsessed with what you're obsessed with.
Yeah, no,
that's just how it goes.
I think that's great. I think that's really great that you're watching that. And then you watched that.
So I recommend watching it also.
And then you told us about it.
Yeah, we should watch it.
I don't really feel like I'm gonna, but
that's fine.
I am gonna feel like I should, and I do appreciate. I am gonna read more about this case, and I am gonna hate Donald Trump even more. How is it possible?
I know.
I'm finding it within myself.
I know. I was when I was reading more about the case, it's on the Wikipedia page that he wrote that op-ed and said those comments, and I was like, wow, what? 2014 and 2016. I had to do a double take on those dates. Are you sure it wasn't right after the? No.
Have you ever heard him apologize for anything that he's ever said or done? Like, it's not... He doesn't do that.
And it's like
know that
even,
I've heard...
Yeah, no. I hate him.
Yeah. I know that I've heard a good, informative episode of a podcast about this. I feel like it's last podcast on the left.
Do you guys find yourself, when you learn about something that's like complicated in our history, really wishing you're wrong about we do an episode about it?
Yeah.
That's how I feel like after watching this. I'm like, man, I really want a You're Wrong About episode about this.
They're doing one about Nancy Kerrigan and what's her face?
Oh, Tonya Harding?
Tanya Harding.
Oh, cool.
For next week. I'm really excited about that. Did you guys see that movie?
Nope.
No.
Oh, it was really good. I don't remember what it was called.
I, Tonya.
Yeah, that's it. It was good. It'll be a good one for sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's do homework.
Hey.
Let's pick ourselves up off the floor here and talk about homework.
Let's salvage some joy if we can. Do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Erin, what's your homework?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Erin. My homework, let's see, is to watch the freaking World Cup. You're not going to hear about this until after it's kind of done, or maybe it's in the middle of it. So if you're listening to Sunday morning, just pause, just like earlier, like it's already been an hour. That sucks. And go watch the World Cup, or like look at the finals, or look at the highlights, or like whatever. Go USA. That's America. Okay, not fucking Donald Funkle Trump. Donald Funkle Trump.
Funkle Trump.
Donald F. Trump. The U.S. women's national team. They're the real American heroes here. Okay.
Okay.
And just look them up on YouTube and just, send them your good vibes, or, retroactively. I think that'll work. I don't know. And, let's see. I review lesbian movies, so lesbian movie reviews on Instagram. You can head to queerworksmap.com to start getting hype about the Queerworks Map coming to you sometime whenever I finish writing it. And you can email all questions there at info@queerworksmap.com. That's all. Earnburn.com. Earnben.com.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the www anymore. I upgraded.
Ooh.
For anything you need.
Okay, I'm done.
Hannah. Okay. All right. My homework is, if you are in the market for some nice eco-friendly jewelry, check out Pieces, Peaces, of Indigo on Etsy. I'll have a link in the description. I'll tweet a picture of my pretty stacked rings. Yeah, she's great. And also get an Oculus Quest so that I have someone to talk to about the games. And my Twitter is @Anthropology. I have another podcast called So Dreamy. We talk about dreams. Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is to watch When They See Us on Netflix. It's good. My Twitter is nicely proofed Ben. I forgot it for a second. My Twitch is Disco Greg. That's it. Bye. Bye. Bye.
No.
Bye.
Also, we have a Instagram for WayTooBroad. We have an Instagram for WayTooBroad. It's called WayTooBroad. We have an email address, WayTooBroad@gmail.com. We have a Twitter @2BroadPod. And we have a website where you can find all the stuff I just said. Oh, and we have a phone number. Holy shit. You can find this phone number there too. It's 774-326-0420.
Blaze it!
Blaze it. Wow.
Blaze it.
I got 2 burps off there.
Nice. Burp it.
WayTooBroad.com for all of that and anything you want. EarnBen.com for anything you need. And please don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you can, or feel like it, because that'll be so nice of you.
So nice.
And thanks to everybody who already did. Thank you for listening. We love you.
We do.
And the podcast candle is now extinguished.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.